Tonight, high alert. The coronavirus spreading in the United States, now from an unknown source.
We're very, very ready for this.
This as President Trump puts the vice president in charge of combating the outbreak.
This is not the time for partisanship.
With the tumbling economic response now infecting the political arena.
The market dropped while he was speaking yesterday in his press conference.
Plus,
well, I think science has certainly become an ally.
Our exclusive sit-down interview with Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. And
Well, hello, CPAC.
the Conservative Political Action Conference kicks off its annual event. All this and more tonight on Faith Nation. A heightened state of preparedness as the coronavirus enters a new stage. Welcome to Faith Nation. I'm John Jessup.
And I'm Jenna Browder. Tonight, health officials on high alert, warning of a coming crisis.
And on Capitol Hill, House Chaplain Father Pat Conroy offered a prayer about the outbreak amid panic in the global economic market.
The current spread of the coronavirus has already caused broad repercussions in financial markets, international trade and travel, and the healthcare industry worldwide. We ask your blessings on those men and women whose life work is the health of the world's population and whose efforts to stem the spread of this disease have endangered their own well-being.
Tonight, we have team coverage on the coronavirus outbreak with CBN Chief Political Analyst David Brody and White House Correspondent Ben Kennedy.
We begin, though, with National Security Correspondent Eric Phillips with more on the new phase. Eric?
Well, Jenna and John, tonight medical officials want to know how a California woman contracted the coronavirus. It is significant because she had not traveled to countries with outbreaks nor been in contact with any other infected person. It makes her the first person in the U.S. to contract the disease by community transmission. As this latest mystery unfolds, California investigators are tracking the patient's movements to see if anyone else may have been exposed. This includes dozens of hospital workers where the patient was treated before being tested for the virus. This same tracking process coincides with another California case after a Korean Airlines flight attendant tested positive for the coronavirus. They say she worked international flights coming in and out of LA's airport.
We're disinfecting LAX every hour. We're making sure that those points of entry and those places where we could see somebody come in and create a vector are as secure as we can possibly make them.
Though the number of confirmed cases in the U.S. remains low, around 60, some in the nation's capital are already having trouble finding face masks. And while China is going out of its way to send the message that it remains open for business, financial giant Goldman Sachs is warning the virus outbreak could lead to a possible recession. Economist Dan Celia talked to CBN News about the potential impact the virus could have on the economy.
I'll give you a great example. One is the auto industry. So right now, most of the auto parts companies in Japan and China are shut down. And people have said to me, well, you know what? We have Toyota manufacturing here in America. They can ramp up. They can't do it without the parts. The parts are coming from other places.
We now know this worldwide epidemic has hit each continent except Antarctica. This includes the first American soldier with the virus in South Korea. The military now ordering extra screenings of the tens of thousands of service members there and restricting all non-essential DoD travel to the Republic of Korea. In Vicenza, Italy, the U.S. Army base has closed.
My first priority is protection of our people, both service members and families, and then make sure we protect our ability to accomplish our mission.
Iran, the hardest hit country in the Middle East, is loosening import restrictions to accept items like sanitizers and face masks. And some optimistic news regarding this epidemic. Scientists in Israel are reportedly close to having a coronavirus vaccine, saying it could be developed within the next few weeks. Mind you, it would still take months before it would go through the regulatory process and hit the marketplace. John and Jenna, back to you.
All right, thank you, Eric. Well, it is the first full day on the job for Vice President Mike Pence in his new role as the point person in the battle to contain the virus.
Yeah, today he led a coronavirus task force meeting at HHS. He also spoke at CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Convention. CBN White House correspondent Ben Kennedy is on the North Lawn with more on that. Ben?
Well, Jenna, John Pence said there is no higher priority than the health, safety, and well-being of the American people. He, as you were talking about, is now in charge of the federal response to the coronavirus and will report back to the president here at the White House.
And I promise you, we will continue to bring the full resources of the federal government to bear to protect the American people. And as the president also said, it's important to remember we're all in this together. This is not the time for partisanship.
Pence said the coronavirus task force has met every day for about a month or so, and today he also appointed Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, Director of the National Economic Council Larry Kudlow, along with Surgeon General Dr. Jerome Adams. The three of them will join Pence, a part of the council. Now, President Trump says the risk to American people does remain low, as Eric mentioned in his report, adding that we are ready to adapt to whatever we have to if it does in fact spread here to the U.S. But the commander-in-chief appeared to contradict the CDC that reports it's not a question of if the virus will spread, but a matter of when.
Well, I don't think it's inevitable. It probably will. It possibly will. It could be at a very small level or it could be at a larger level. Whatever happens, we're totally prepared. We have the best people in the world.
The White House has barred non-U.S. citizens from entering the country from China, which has helped minimize the exposure here in America. The stock market has lost north of $1 trillion in value this week alone, but Trump's confident the markets will recover, touting, as he always does in the campaign trail, John and Jenna, that the economy is strong.
All right, Ben Kennedy at the White House, thank you. And let's bring in our chief political analyst, David Brody. David, politically speaking, why has this become such a political issue?
A couple things. One, it's Washington. Two, it's politics. And three, Donald Trump and Nancy Pelosi and the toxic atmosphere of post-impeachment. Nothing is going to get done in this town. And now you have a serious virus all over the world into the United States, and they can't even agree on how to fight it. So it doesn't surprise me at all that this is the case. Though I will say historically, if we go back, I mean, look at Katrina and George W. Bush. I mean, Democrats were on him for that. And we can go down Puerto Rico even with Donald Trump. So there's always, politicians always seem to kind of go down this road to score political points.
You just teed me up. Both sides seem to be using this outbreak to score points against each other. Democrats in Congress, the White House in its response. Is this good politics, given the severity of what's going on?
Well, it's not good politics, but it's politics. And so, you know, that's the difference. And honestly, and this is the sad part, John, and really, this doesn't really go so much to what we're talking about with the virus, but it goes to kind of the state of our country right now, which is simply this. You know, we are in moral decay, and when you're in moral decay and you're looking to the next election and you're looking to save yourself in your Senate seat or your congressional seat, you know, you look inward and you don't look at the bigger picture. And I think Republicans, Democrats, and Independents and everybody in between are guilty of that, really kind of looking inward and not looking at a bigger picture.
Yeah, a lot of room for opportunists, that's for sure. This month, the White House released the president's proposed budget, David, which slashes the CDC budget. Does this, you know, even though there were reports of the coronavirus back in December, does this kind of speak to what critics would say the Trump administration downplaying all of this?
Well, here's the thing. So Biden and Bloomberg and many others have piled on to talk about the CDC and that the Trump administration, here's the word, Jenna, they said the Trump administration actually cut funding. No, you just said it's a proposed budget. They did not. Now, they have proposed budgets before where they wanted to cut funding, but guess what? Funding was never cut, whether it be Democrats and Republicans and others said, no, we're going to increase funding. So actually funding has increased for the CDC. So Bloomberg and Biden and all the folks that you've heard so far are incorrect when they say funding has been cut, because that's what they actually said.
Not actually cut, but proposed to be cut, and this was the Trump White House plan.
Right, so that's what they need to say. You know, they need to say, look, they're proposing to cut funding, that's legitimate. But to say they've actually cut funding, that is actually inaccurate. And the Associated Press is actually out with a fact check on that, saying Democrats were wrong to say that in the debate the other night.
Because there is no budget that has yet been passed.
That's right. That's exactly right.
About the economy, what happens in political terms if we are indeed heading into a recession? There are fears now that the coronavirus might indeed precede that.
Right. Well, the folks at Standard & Poor's have actually said they've gone from a 20% chance of a recession to 40% chance of a recession. That's not good news for Trump, obviously. A worse economy is bad news for this president. Having said that, S&P and others have also looked at this and said, well, wait a minute, this could actually be over, believe it or not, by the summer, the warm weather. Kids are not in school. A lot of this transmitted within children and classrooms in that environment. So you could actually look at an economic rebound come August and September, and that could actually help the president. So you've got two schools of thought here as to what happens.
David, do you think this lights up the issue of borders and wanting to close off our borders potentially and be more restrictive of who we let in?
Yeah, I think that's actually a good point. I think it will. Donald Trump will want to play to that. Having said that, I think at some point, I think Trump and this administration is looking for him to kind of be, yes, I'm going to say it, the adult in the room here to make sure that he is looking like not just a commander-in-chief, but being in control as well as a commander-in-chief. And I think that's more important right now rather than border politics. Probably the last thing he wants, though in campaign rallies, the border will come up.
All right, David, thank you.
Thanks, David. Coming up next, our CBN News exclusive interview with the most powerful man in the United States Senate, Leader Mitch McConnell.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.
This is CBN Newswatch. Thanks for joining us. Watch breaking news, exclusive stories and programs, credible news reporting.
We show you what's happening in the world and how you can pray about it.
This is CBN Newswatch, because truth matters. Weekdays at 5 on the CBN News Channel.
Yes, right on time.
From Superbook.
Pepper's Pizza Palace is donating pizza for everyone today. Wait. I have big plans today.
Trust in God even when times are tough. He has a plan for your life.
Hey, we're gonna be late for the grand opening. My parents want me to help with this outreach thing, feeding the community. What am I supposed to do here? Superbook!
Join the Superbook Club and get Superbook The Birth of Moses, plus 2 copies to share with others, all for your gift of only $25.
Pharaoh ordered all newborn Hebrew boys thrown into the Nile River, and I have a 3-month-old brother.
The Birth of Moses. Yours for a gift of only $25.
What will you do the next time the soldiers come? I do not know, but I trust God has a plan for all of us.
Superbook Club members free streaming for seasons 1, 2, and 3 is now available.
Tonight, a CBN News exclusive with Senator Mitch McConnell, the Senate Majority Leader, speaking out after 2 major pro-life bills hit the Senate floor.
Both votes, the Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act and the Pain Capable Unborn Child Protection Act, failed. CBN News Capitol Hill correspondent Abigail Robertson joins us now with her exclusive interview with the Senate Majority Leader. Abigail?
Well, John, on Tuesday, when these bills were considered in the Senate, McConnell took a lot of heat from Democrats who criticized him for holding show votes, knowing that these bills wouldn't pass. But today, McConnell has no regrets about holding these bills, and he said that he thinks that this issue, it's important to get lawmakers continually to pick a side on this issue. And when I asked him to respond to Minority Leader Chuck Schumer's comments that these bills were dishonest and extreme and a waste of time, here's what he had to say. think we're pulling that thought up for you now. But basically, he stood by his decision to hold these votes, and he said that he thinks that the other side is extreme, and that he actually thinks that science is an ally for the pro-life movement, and that he thinks eventually that the courts are going to be on the side of the pro-life movement as well. We also talked extensively about the reshaping of the courts and the judges that under the Trump administration and the Republican-controlled Senate, they've confirmed almost 200 judges. Here we go. I think we have the clip now.
Well, there's nothing extreme about underscoring that if there is a botched abortion and the baby is born alive, it's no longer about abortion, it's about infanticide. It's unbelievable that somebody would call that either a waste of time to have such a vote or extreme, which only underscores the point I was making earlier about how bizarre the positions they're taking now are. And on the pain-capable bill, we know now, as a result of science, that if a baby is capable of having pain, it's a life. And so I would dispute the notion that A, it was a waste of time, or B, that there was anything extreme about support for either of these provisions. What's extreme is opposition to these kinds of bills.
From that interview, we'll have more from that interview tomorrow on the 700 Club. Back to you, John and Jenna.
All right, Abigail Robertson on Capitol Hill. Great interview. Thank you very much. Well, CPAC and the conservative movement. Kayleigh McEnany with the Trump 2020 campaign joins us next.
When I came to Regent University, it's like the world opened up. I felt like I needed to advance my career and go back to school. Regent was a perfect fit for me. The Regent professors are world-class. You are equipped. The focus of the faculty is on each individual student, whether it's online or in person. You become a part of Regent's family. You carry with you not just the content and the knowledge, but the confidence to understand that we can be significant in the world.
Regent University. Follow your path.
Nigerian Christians
in Iran are routinely arrested.
Happily, Christians continue to suffer.
In times of trial and affliction, you need to know the truth.
One of the fastest growing Christian populations in the world.
Join Wendy Griffith and George Thomas for Christian World News.
Young people are the ones who are open to the gospel.
Powerful stories of suffering and hope that affect all Christians. Watch Christian World News, Saturday at 5 p.m.
Get Protect Your Sleep and discover how to improve the quality of your life. A free DVD or booklet from the Christian Broadcasting Network.
If you're not a great sleeper, you can do things to make yourself a great sleeper. If you're already a pretty good sleeper, you can enhance your sleep and be even better.
5 leading experts help remove the obstacles between you and restorative sleep.
When you don't get a restful night's sleep, you wake up with an accumulation of stress.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com to get your free DVD or booklet today.
Everything you do better with a good night's sleep.
You'll discover how food affects your sleep, how to put insomnia to rest, explore effective remedies for sleep apnea, and much more in Protect Your Sleep. Wake up to your best life and get Protect Your Sleep today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com to get your free DVD or booklet.
Welcome back. Conservatives this week are strategizing at the largest annual meeting of conservatives, CPAC, with big names like President Trump and Vice President Pence drawing the party faithful.
And as Paul Strand reports, the main work will be on the activist level, figuring out how to best advance that conservative vision.
And then your money, and then your opportunities, but in the end you lose your rights.
If you speak freely, if you express your religious freedom, if you do the things that we are accustomed to here in America, guaranteed by the Constitution, the notion that our rights are given by God and not by the government, not by the state, then they'll lock you up. That's the bottom line. You better toe the line in those socialist nations or off to the camps.
If you believe that the individual is not as important as the collective, eventually you run over the individual in the hopes of helping the collective, and then that turns into running over many individuals to help an elite few who are in power.
And then starvation sets in, and the people who speak out about these atrocities that are happening in the country are then run over by government tanks. I think you saw the viral video that was all over the internet in America of a government tank in Venezuela running over protesters in the street. That's socialism for you.
No matter the causes pushed here at CPAC, it's pretty much all intended for these red state voters and activists, because the issues discussed here will likely be priorities in the upcoming elections. Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from CPAC.
All right, thank you, Paul. And here with us now from the Trump 2020 campaign headquarters is Kayleigh McEnany, Trump 2020 National Press Secretary. Kayleigh, good to have you. Thanks for joining us. So Kayleigh, socialism is the buzzword. Poll after poll shows it on the rise, especially with younger voters. Does this concern the Trump campaign?
It looks like we are having some technical difficulties. What we're going to do now is go to break, but we'll come back after the break and hopefully have Kayleigh with us. Stick around.
Christians around the world are standing with the Israelis. But why? In CBN's free magazine, Friends of Israel, you'll discover why Christians are supporting the Jewish state, how Israel is fulfilling prophecy as a light to the nations, and ways you can pray for the people of Israel. Israel needs the support of friends like you. Call now or go to cbn.com to get your free copy of Friends of Israel.
Heavenly Father, we do thank you for the work of your Spirit, Lord God, with this movement of getting the Bible,
yes,
Lord, into public schools.
Watch The Prayer Link, Tuesday nights at 6:30.
Hey, if you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Get Protect Your Sleep and live your best life with innovative information from 5 leading sleep experts.
If you're not a great sleeper, you can do things to make yourself a great sleeper. If you're already a pretty good sleeper, you can enhance your sleep and be even better.
Discover a sleep-enhancing bedtime routine, how to put insomnia to rest, learn how to relieve pain that disturbs sleep, and much more in Protect Your Sleep.
Everything you do better with a good night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
Don't miss out on this brand new series.
And we're back now with Kayleigh McEnany with the Trump 2020 campaign. Kayleigh, so polls show socialism on the rise, especially with young people. Does this concern the Trump campaign at all?
Look, it's obviously concerning anytime you see socialism as a word that anyone accepts, especially when we're in the hottest economy in modern history. But we're not concerned overall because when you look at polling, yes, 65% of Democrat primary voters believe in socialism, but only 28% of the nation does. 75% of the nation says we are not happy and would be unhappy with a socialist president. So overall, America's not there. We still believe in the American dream and capitalism and hope and opportunity.
Kayleigh, this year's CPAC lineup appears to be more Trump-focused than it has been in years past. Let's talk about how much President Trump has changed the Republican Party.
Yeah, he's changed it for the better. There's simply no doubt about that. Look, trade is a great example. You know, we were a party that didn't go toe-to-toe with China, didn't get rid of NAFTA, and we changed that. We brought in a president who said, I'm going to rip up those trade agreements that have hurt factory workers and farmers and manufacturers and create new ones, and that's exactly what he's done. He's a president who said, look, I don't want to be in foreign wars. Let's get out of these foreign entanglements and put America first. So he's certainly changed the party for the better, and I think everyone recognizes that, which is why you see so much support at CPAC and in the Republican Party generally.
Kayleigh, do you think the Trump effect will last beyond President Trump's time in office?
I do, because he's made our party one that is responsive to the needs of the people, and he's growing this coalition. When you look at the Nevada rally data, for example, 27% of those who registered were Black or Latino. That's incredible. Those are great numbers, and I think it's actually far higher than that, the support the president will get in the election. You know, we're a party that's bringing in women voters off the sidelines with low unemployment rates, with things like paid family leave and criminal justice reform. So I think absolutely, you know, people have taken notice of what this president has done. They're on board, and the Trump coalition, I think, will endure for quite some time.
Kayleigh, if Bernie Sanders does get the nomination, do conservatives run the risk of underestimating Sanders? Like Trump, a party outsider and someone who's a populist with a major movement behind him.
Look, I firmly believe, and I know President Trump would beat Bernie Sanders and any one of the Democrat candidates, but we, of course, don't take anything for granted. It's why we go to states like North Carolina for a rally on Monday. It's why we go to Trump states like Ohio and Florida, and we protect Trump territory. But we're also on offense, and we're in New Mexico and Nevada and New Hampshire and Minnesota. So two things can happen at once. We can protect those states, not take anything for granted, not take any candidate for granted, but yet firmly believe we're going to win because we have the good news of the Trump presidency behind us.
Kelly, real quickly, I know you're collecting data at Trump campaign rallies. You say that Democrats are attending them. Anything new that you're learning from those rallies?
Yeah, we're learning quite a bit. I go to each and every one of the president's rallies. I always get so excited to see what the data says after. And you're right that about a quarter of those who register are Democrats. About 10 to 15% have never voted in an election. And we survey the last 4 elections to get that metric. So that's incredible data. The fact that we see it so consistently while having thousands of people wait outside at the rallies, it's pretty remarkable.
All right, Kayleigh McEnany, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, coming up, measuring and movement in magnetic field on the red planet and what it could mean for life on Earth.
Tikkun Olam.
This is our nature as a country.
To make the world a better place.
Literally, we felt the earth shaking.
The Christian Broadcasting Network presents To Life, how Israeli volunteers are changing the world.
This film needs to be seen by everyone.
I was in tears.
Now you can own the inspiring documentary To Life on DVD.
There is blood on our hands if we know and we walk away.
I'm so grateful that this film was made.
To Life can be yours for a gift of $10 or more. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com.
We know that every minute counts to save life.
It'll bless Israel, but it'll also bless all the friends of Israel.
Discover the untold story of how Israeli volunteers are making the world a better place. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com to get your copy today.
Finally tonight, NASA is out with new research bringing light beneath the surface of Mars.
That's right. NASA's InSight landing mission is breaking ground, putting a finger on the pulse of the red planet and gaining understanding about its past and future. InSight landed on Mars in November 2018, detecting more than 458 seismic signals since. Proof of volcanic activity beneath the Martian surface. NASA scientists hope the ongoing research will provide greater understanding about how rocky planets like the Earth first formed.
Would you ever want to go to space?
I kind of like it right here on Earth.
Yeah, I know. It's nice to see the images.
I would have to agree there.
Yeah. All right, well, that does it for Faith Nation.
Hope to see you again tomorrow.